Hello. Welcome if you're joining me live. And if you're not, hashtag after party or replay. Wait and see if anyone joins us. Wait and see if I can actually see any comments. Wait and see if you can hear me. All right, I can see I'm on. So if you're on live with me, could you maybe just give me a thumbs up or a heart emoji or something that says, I can hear you okay. That'd be super. Would be super, super duper. Can't hear me. Okay, that's why we do these things. Let me see what's going on. All right, I'm going to reconnect the AirPods and I'll be back. Oh, you can hear me now. Oh, thank God, I was about to press cancel. Who knows in the world of internet, hey? I'm sure I switched to my 4G, but anyway, here we are. And it's just gone dark outside. Thanks for letting me know, Steph. That's ace. Hi, Beth. How you going? So, today I'm in all black. Today I'm feeling super dark and dank. And I thought I would share that because I want you to see the fullness of the feminine, the fullness of what it means to be open and to live in the paradigm of relationship that I'm talking about in here, and that maybe you don't quite feel the availability for movement in. Maybe is what I'm trying to say. So, we've all got stuff going on in ISO, don't we? And homeschooling my third, who has additional needs, is really hard. And so we're looking at a process at the moment around perhaps the system doesn't suit her. And we're looking at what does that look like? So my background, it's so funny because my background is, naturalist versions of learning and anything that basically says fuck the system and Steiner. And with my first two, particularly my first, I had to leave that to move into what it was that I judged, right? Because what you condemn, you breed, attract, or become. So here I was condemning the them and the us, the system and me. And here I got this son who needed the system and loved the system and thrived in a system, which was the polar opposite to what I anticipated our forward journey would look like. And so it worked really well for my first two, and now I've come full circle back around to my third, and it's not working. And I often think the whole point is often that we move through all of our attachments and polarizations simply to end up where we started, but in a deeper, more whole way, I think. So anyway, big conversations, big discussions. It involves big life changes, big identity shifts. So I could choose to sit with that overwhelm, and I could choose to let it overwhelm me until I feel as though I'm drowned. Or it's a time to really do my practice, right? You don't do your practice when things are good. The whole point of the practice when things are good is so you're set up for when they're not. And that when they're not, it's easier for you to do the things because you're already practiced at them. So difficulty and challenge, such as ISO brings, is exactly the time to do a practice, because you don't have to do this work. You don't have to exit your life in order to devote enough time that you can understand it and work with it and make sure you're doing it right. It's not up here. It doesn't exist up here. Life is the practice. Life as it is for you right now is the practice. With me as your teacher or mentor, I want you to understand spiritual or emotional or relational underpinnings, but the real magic of that work is in how you integrate that into life, your life, not changing your life, not trying to, somehow paper mache on a whole lot of tools because you think you're lacking to begin with, or if you were just different to who you are, that somehow things would be better. Not that. No. Every challenge offers you the opportunity to deepen your practice. But how you dance with that chaos, how you dance with that feminine, how you dance with life, how you make life your lover is the practice I'm talking about here. So I could choose to close down. I could choose to shut off. I could choose to get angry at everyone and everything. I could choose to get pissy at my daughter. I could choose to make it my husband's fault because he's just in the house just working and it's all me. Or I could choose to see how life is orchestrating towards my growth and not in the way of my growth. And how even though I don't know the outcome, which if you're in your feminine, you never do, because the masculine has the goal. Then the dance is the purpose, right? Not to get across the other side of the dance floor. So if you've done Flowers and Honey with me, which is after Queen School, I do a sexuality deep dive, which I think is probably better once you've done Queen School, because there's a lot of underpinnings that I think you miss otherwise, but you can do it on its own. You know that the container of sexuality and relationship that I use is so that we can, instead of talking it out or inner childing it out and shutting down and disconnecting further, that we have an intimacy practice that's orchestrated for our combined opening, for cathartically moving through our body whatever exists as a block. More crudely, fucking it out. But fucking it out occurs before there's penetration. So today, last night I started to get a sinus infection. So this is also, our physiology is completely reflective of our psychology and our emotional state, right? This and all of the etheric layers from here cement down for it to be a physical manifestation. There's a whole lot of clog. It's the deepest level of vibration, right? For it to be physical, to manifest physically. Is Dad coming? Maybe. You know what this is like. So, my sacrum has been screaming at me, and I started to get this sinus infection, and I was in pain and all blocked up, right? And I knew had nothing to do with how well or unwell I was, that it was all of the stuff that I was like slowly just cementing into my body. And so my husband and I, we headed off to bed last night, and instead of trying to be something other than I was, instead of trying to make it his, instead of holding back because we have established and set up a relationship in which there's a framework and he is empowered to be with me, not that I expect his container of nothingness to know how to handle my fullness, because it's just not possible. The feminine is so powerful and so full that it's like trying to throw someone the tail of a tornado and say, hold it. To get to the place where your partner can hold your tornado requires lots of levels of self-ownership and responsibility rather than codependency. requires an authentic clarity of your transmission and revealing authentically of what you're feeling and connecting to it, not trying to like skew it off somewhere and the energy gets funky, not trying to make it something other than it is, and you learn the art of revealing, and you find a trustable place in him, you reveal a little bit, he works with it, you reveal a bit more next time, he works with it or he doesn't, and then you change your communication. Like, it's an evolving process, right? So, you know, we enter our bedroom and I'm able to just like let the wave out. It doesn't need to stay trapped in here. And the more that I'm willing to be open for all of the darkness, the more there's still light and energy, because remember, light and energy is a spectrum. It's not just what is beautiful and pretty. All energy, you know? So he learns how to fuck that energy, mentally, emotionally, physically. And then we have a practice where together I open my body and I move energy through it, and he then becomes the catalyst and the receiver of that energy. And it's beautiful. So today, my sinus infection is clearing, my pelvis isn't hurting, and I want to be dark and continue to explore that dark, open energy with him. So, you know, after this enormous I haven't posted about it yet because I just haven't got to it yet this morning. But after all of that, at the end of last night, I was just like, all heart and energy openness. I said to him, like, fuck, you know, thank you for loving me. And he was like, you're easy to love. I'm like, I know I'm not. I know I'm not easy to love. That's why I'm just feeling this wave of gratitude. He's like, yeah, but that's what makes you easy to love. I thought, yeah, that's the practice, right? So you can be all aspects of your energy and be open, or you can close it down, make that clarity murky, and his presence closes down with that. So your level of open invitation and movement of energy, plus the grown-up setup, knowing how he functions and what is possible for his masculine mind and body and how you communicate that, right? There's a setup and then there's the practice. And if you're able to move with that openness and continue that, his presence will just, remember I said yesterday, like if there's light and energy that doesn't have a structure and a presence that like takes it deeper, he like is wired for like, oh, extra energy there, ooh, ooh, you know, and he's like, that's his presence. But there ain't much energy flowing. There ain't much presence flowing either. And the less present he is, the more hidden your heart is, the more resentful you feel, the less you can trust him, the less you reveal, the less present he is, and the cycle continues. You know? So you are the responsible barometer for the presence in his body. Yes, it sounds like you're responsible, blah, blah, blah. But he will be responsive to the energy that's flowing through your body if you've had the appropriate setup conversation. And when he does not respond in a way that feels good and takes you deeper, that you are instantaneously continuing your practice of responsiveness to train him, because you're always training him. So if he gets lost in his own body and his own inner child and his own pleasure and he completely leaves the experience of your body, he's not doing the practice, and it's your job to let him know. If you don't tell him, he doesn't know. That is how we keep men stupid. And then we berate them for being little boys. But we withhold our truth. And we don't give it to them in real time. You can't, train any type of animal after the fact of the thing that they've done. We're human too. We're an animal too. So when he gets lost in his own energy and experience, and his presence stops penetrating into your experience as his source of pleasure, and it gets disgusting. And you'll shut down and stop revealing and pull back. And then he drifts, drifts into career, projects, TV, friends, fishing, porn, superficial sexual release. And then you get to live a life where you take care of yourself, and your self-sufficiency and your closeness gets to stay intact. And so we go, But I see so much disease and dis-ease and solidification, hardness in women's bodies and minds when they're not able to know the true essence and light that they have at the center of their yearning, their heart, and the ability that their body has, and just the knowledge that that is here to be experienced and received, and that the deepest desire of the men around you is to provide that for you. It's a fundamental belief shift that I walk around this world with. My energy can bless you in this moment. And I know your greatest heart's desire is to meet mine. It can be a stranger. It can be my husband. It can be my son. And the only thing that dictates that is my energy flow and my openness. It doesn't mean I'm open to everyone. A woman who is open and aware of the power comes great responsibility, right? So we don't use it in manipulating ways, which happens. It's the feminine in shadow, which is mostly what she's been up until ISO, right? I had another thought processor and it's just left my head. I can't even think. Sarah Wake. Hello, my love. I have a query. I was supposed to be overseas for a week for my work. Hang on, I'm looking. But of course that's not happening because of COVID. My husband is lined up to have the kids so I can attend the conference online. But here we are and he has zero planned for the day. Hence they are here and hence I'm injecting myself into parenting. Yeah. And I'm resenting him because he hasn't forward planned like I would if it was his work thing. And I purposefully didn't bark my expectations on him thinking that this was the right thing for him, to have the spaciousness to plan for himself, yet here we are. Did I go wrong by not mapping out my expectations last night before my work day commenced? No. I think you did the right thing. I'd only tweak it just a little bit. So I wouldn't map out my expectations, but I would reveal through my body and my energy how scared I was, how fearful I was, how deeply I craved to be met in these ways. I would have been light and let him find his own solutions Because if I'm always giving him solutions, he will never find his own. You know? And here we are. So, it's, Bridget and I on Nourishing the Mother and on the podcast talk continuously about when you perceive that your way of parenting is better than another versions of parenting, is to flip that and to see where it's not, and how their version of parenting has just as many benefits, and how you stepping back actually allows them for the first time to do something that you've never allowed them, they've never had the space for or the need to up level into. And you know what it's like, every time there's a new something, there's a period of time where you're like, running around going, fuck, this is more than I can handle, I don't know what I'm doing here. And you work your shit out because you're in chaos and you're searching for solidity and control. You have to allow him to drown so he can find his own way. And in all of that, your only responsibility is to be responsive to what comes up in your body and let him feel that, what comes up in your body. Don't trust your own masculine but I have the answer, and my answer is better. My answer will be right. And this, I don't like how you're not meeting me here. And I have the answer for how you could do that better. If you mother him, if you tell him, you will keep him in his prince. He won't grow to his king. So there's no going wrong. There's only ever practice. There's no going wrong. That's why you're in a container with me, right? It's what Queen School is. It's not theoretical. It's taking it into your life and going, oh shit, I see that. I didn't see that before. Fuck. It's really tricky. It is really, really hard. I'm not saying it's easy. But everything we do for the first time is hard until it becomes part of who we are. And then it becomes effortless. And it's patterning, yeah. Because whatever you continue to run, and whatever you're running now in relationship will have been run since you were a baby, since even possibly before you were born, and it was epigenetic patterning that you were born into. Like, fucking fuck. Give yourself a break in terms of this is the humanness. But all of these wounds and all of this pain is orchestrated for your growth. And sometimes, often, I think most times, the revelations that we get as souls happen through pain and humanness, not through necessarily ecstasy and delight. The practice is needed most when it's hard and dark, not when it's easy and delicious, because there's really not much practice involved when it's easy and delicious. You don't have to do much and it feels so good. The practice is knowing how to be when circumstances are not ideal. I think that's by far the more profound work. So, does that answer your question? I'm hoping so with your fuck. It's nothing like a swear word to, just explain a whole lot of stuff, is it? So, I don't know if there's much in my notes that's worth sharing anymore. I think we've talked about a lot. His greatest service is to take you deeper into the experience of love and have it flow outwards to heal this world. His greatest service. He might have all sorts of missions and all sorts of purposes, but the deepest, most fulfilling and opening service that he will ever do in this world is to open and expand feminine energy. You wish I could just do the work for you. It's a bloody dance. We need to keep rehearsing the steps. That's exactly right. That is the practice. And I think every time it doesn't work, it's such a beautiful, rich learning ground for whoa, okay, why didn't that work? What setup have I not left him with? What conversations do we need to have as a relationship so that we are on the same team, not on opposite teams? And what is the body work that I did not do, or the repatterning that or the old patterning that I found myself slipping back into? What's my work? What's our couple's work? Where's my voice been stifled? Where have I stopped the flow of my energy and my truth? And having the deepest compassion for ourselves and our partners as we just work our shit out. He's not going to practice perfectly. The first time you do something, he may completely fuck it up. So what happens next is important. Do you stay open and continue your practice to continue his desire to find a new way to show up for you because that way didn't work? Or have you shut down and you've ice queened and there's nothing for him there anyway? So why would he bother? You know, particularly for masculine beings, they're so dense, which is delicious and requires the deepest amount of compassion and patience, but that you stay in openness, with openness, and you alter your vibration until you hit the right note that moves through his density. And he goes, think about it. I mean, I said this in Flowers and Honey. Think about it like teaching your kids to read a book. God, it's like, I fucking hate it. Excruciating. But imagine if the first time my daughter was trying to read a book, I went, oh, shut it up, and walked away. You can't do it. You're hopeless. How's she going to learn to read? If you close the book on him, how can he learn to read? That's why I think parenting is the greatest framework for relationship. I don't think there could be a better learning ground than parenting for intimacy and relationship. I think the two skills are transferable. What I learn and move with my husband in my body and in our relationship serves our parenting deeply. And what I learn to do in parenting serves our sexuality and relationship deeply. They're not separate. The stopping points I meet in parenting will be the stopping points I meet in my relationship. Or one will be an upskilled version of the other, So, yeah, my energy is different today. I've come to really love the dark, deep, slow and carnal energy without it needing to be in shadow, which is often what we see in our culture, isn't it? So, that's it. Your openness, invitation of energy will evoke his presence. Your clarity of your energy evokes the response in front of you. If you are not happy with the response, it's because your transmission has been off. So do the practice. Get your transmission back, work on it. Oh, that worked. What did I do differently? There was a set of things I did that was different to when I did it that way and it didn't work. And holy shit, I didn't know he was that. Our partners already are everything that we want. But we have to be the open energy container to experience it. If you're not experiencing something you want to experience, it's because you haven't opened it in yourself. I know. It's a little bit ouchy sometimes, isn't it? I don't mean it to be. It is all love. Even when it's dark like today. So I really hope you got something out of that. I really do. Let me know. Anyway, tomorrow is our last day of pre-trainings. We're looking at polarity as the practice, not a way of living, and why. So I guess I'll see you then if you're going to join me. Or if you're in Queen's School, I will see you on Monday. And if you're just thinking about it, jump in. You don't need hours of time to try and mentally understand the shit. You just need to have a body that's willing to practice. And you have one of those. And you have the perfect practice ground. No escaping it. So, growth. It's all on the way. It's not in the way. No one's here to judge you or shame you. You do not need to be anything other than you are, and you do not need 1,000 other tools to be better. You just need to understand this instrument. And his. And learn how to play it. That's it. So, I'm going to go be dark for the rest of my day and really enjoy it. And ask myself in every moment, how can I take that deeper? That's what I hope you do today. I feel X. How could I ecstatically ravish that feeling more? Ugh. I want to do it already. All right, I'll see ya.